NBSB, fat, and in my mind, I felt like I was ugly. I had very low self esteem, and I never got to experience high school love. To be asked out on a date, to be told I was pretty. I felt very unwanted, and at the time, my self worth was tied to my weight and whether people liked me or not. And then I moved out for college, and my parents were like, be responsible. Don't get a boyfriend until you graduate. Joke's on you. No one ever asked me out.
Your 20s are your prime, and if you didn't get attention then, times will be tough moving on. That right there, that's a brutal statement, but it exposes a truth nobody wants to say out loud. For women especially, your early 20s are when the world floods you with validation. DMs are full, invitations are constant, compliments are effortless. And because it comes so easily, many start believing that attention equals value and that it will always be there. Dating in 2026 is impossible. No, it's just unforgiving. And a lot of people are finally realizing that attention has an expiration date. Before we dive in, drop a comment. Are modern men more delusional, or is it the ladies? Hit like and subscribe so you don't miss what we expose next. But attention is not the same thing as commitment. In your 20s, you're competing with energy, novelty, and aesthetics. The market rewards youth. That's not an insult. That's just how social dynamics have worked for centuries. Men peak later in status and resources. Women peak earlier in attention and desirability. That asymmetry creates a very small window where leverage is at its highest. And here's where the disappointment begins. If someone spends their prime entertaining or rejecting solid partners because they're waiting for a fantasy, a six-figure, 6-foot, soft life provider who reads minds and never challenges them. What happens when the attention slows down? Reality hits. The same guys who were invisible at 23 are suddenly more stable, more confident, more established at 33, and now they have options. Meanwhile, some women who once had unlimited choices realize that choices shrink when standards stay inflated, but leverage drops. That's not cruelty. That's market correction. And this isn't just about women. Men who waste their 20s addicted to comfort, gaming, and avoiding self-improvement face the same reckoning. The difference: society doesn't flood average men with attention in their youth, so their wake-up call tends to come earlier. What we're really watching is delayed accountability. The culture sold a soft life fantasy, endless options, zero consequences, permanent desirability. But biology doesn't care about hashtags, and time does not negotiate. So when someone says, if you didn't get attention in your 20s, it gets tougher from here, what they're really saying is this: the dating market rewards strategy, not delusion. And if your prime years were spent chasing validation instead of building value emotionally, physically, financially, the next phase will feel like a rude awakening. Dating isn't impossible in 2026. It's just no longer forgiving.
One of the hardest things about dating and being single is that you're constantly going through a cycle of someone not choosing you. And for me, I think the constant cycle of rejection, essentially, right? Putting yourself out there, hoping that this guy chooses you or sees something in you where he's like, wow, she's the one. I want to pick her. I want to build a future with her. She's my forever person. When you keep going through those cycles of someone not choosing you, at least for me, it does take a toll on my confidence level, and it takes a toll on my eagerness to keep putting myself out there and keep dating. I don't know. And after a series of like rejections and being hurt in situationships, it's kind of exhausting. And you get to a point where you're like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this or if I can keep doing this, like mentally, physically. After a while, it does take a toll on you. So I'm trying to remain hopeful, but I'm reaching a point.
Now this right here, this is where you can hear the fatigue. Even when men see a future with a woman, what are the chances she won't go haywire once he gets comfortable? Or that her girlfriends won't start nitpicking him? Nah, we're good alone. That's not confidence talking. That's risk assessment. A lot of men today aren't saying they don't want relationships. They're saying the cost-benefit analysis doesn't make sense anymore. Think about it. A man invests time, energy, resources, emotional vulnerability, which for most men does not come easy. He finally relaxes. He lets his guard down. He stops performing. He assumes stability. And then suddenly the energy shifts. Now he's too comfortable. Now he's not ambitious enough. Now her friend group is whispering, "You could do better." Now minor flaws become character defects. What changed? Often nothing except a dynamic. When novelty fades and comfort sets in, some people mistake stability for stagnation. Social media amplifies this too. There's always a highlight reel of someone better, taller, richer, more exciting, more aesthetic. Comparison culture poisons contentment. And let's address the friend influence. Groupthink is powerful. If a woman's circle thrives on drama, hypergamy, and constant upgrades, it becomes very difficult for her to feel satisfied with a steady, normal, loyal guy. He may not be toxic enough to keep things exciting. He may not trigger chaos. And ironically, peace can feel boring to someone conditioned to instability. So some men are asking, why gamble? Why build something just to have it destabilized by outside noise or sudden personality shifts once comfort kicks in? This doesn't mean all women sabotage good men, but the perception matters. And right now, a growing number of men perceive long-term commitment as high risk, low security. Add in divorce statistics, add in public stories of messy breakups, add in the narrative that men are replaceable and should constantly compete. You get withdrawal. Nah, where good alone isn't always bitterness. Sometimes it's self. The modern masculinity crisis isn't just about weakness. It's about distrust. Men are unsure whether emotional investment will be rewarded or punished. And when the culture constantly tells them they're one mistake away from being replaced, they adapt. They stay single. They focus on work. They build quietly. They detach emotionally. Because to them, solitude feels safer than unpredictability. That's the uncomfortable truth underneath that statement. It's not that men don't want love. It's that too many believe love today comes with unstable terms and conditions.
This is just a rant for the single people who don't want to freaking be single. I'm exhausted. I've been on Tinder since I think it came out in 2016. I've tried multiple dating apps. I've tried, when I used to have friends, I used to try it that way. And I'm really sick and tired of the people just downplaying, like, well, being in a relationship isn't that great, or it'll come to you if you stop looking for it. Shut the fuck up. I've stopped because I don't have any hope. And even when I was looking for it, it didn't matter. Every fucking bullshit cliche someone has to say about you not finding love pisses me off. They don't know what it feels like to be unpicked, to be the fat best friend, to be the one that the person asks, not about you, but about your friend. To constantly be invisible. I just want to know what it feels like once. To constantly be the one 3 a.m. text because you're ashamed to be seen with me. I just want to know what it feels like to be mutually loved. And for the people who are saying it's not all what it's cracked up to be and all that shit and all the fights, you're doing your relationship wrong. If there's that many faults and everything, then break the hell up. You're not meant to be together. End of story. And you're not meant to I'm just so tired. You're not meant to air your grievances that won't even matter in my relationships because I don't give a shit. I'm so freaking easygoing. I don't care. I don't care about a lot of crap. But you people are just, you care about like the dumbest shit. Like, oh, well, he's not going on a healthier diet, so now I'm really pissed at him. Who gives up? Stop trying to change people. You fell in love with them for a reason. Stay in love. What the hell's wrong with you? Stop trying to change people. The people that are in love or have love, found love, and I quote that because I don't think it's real love, they don't deserve it. They are so completely undeserving. They complain at every fucking turn. I would die to be in a fight with my significant other. Just to feel that, like, I'm not saying like fighting is healthy in relationships, but it does happen. And I want that. It's normal. For the people who are saying it's not, and it sucks, try being involuntarily single for about 10 years. Really gets to you, really makes you feel like the bottom of the barrel, the piece of shit, the fucking nobody that nobody ever would want. I don't know. I'm too shy, I'm too weird. I need patient people. There aren't many of those in the world anymore. Because of my autism and my agoraphobia and my social anxiety, it's going to take me a fucking minute to text you and get to know you a little bit and then be like, okay, I feel safe with this person to go out. Or if we meet in real life, I'm never going up to you in the first place because of the severe rejection habits and patterns that I've gone through. I don't need the extra, you're not good enough anymore. I don't need that anymore. It sucks to not be good enough for the person you want to be good enough for. It's exhausting, but hey. Keep complaining instead of breaking up and trying to find the one that actually is your one. I'm so sick and tired of these stupid people in relationships saying it's not all what it's cracked up to be, and it all sucks and yada yada, then why the fuck are you in one? Let the person go so that someone else can have a chance.
Now this is where things get controversial. The bitter feminist movement ruined it for everyone. Now men assume all women are the same. Can't blame them. First, let's slow that down. Whenever frustration turns into all women or all men, we're no longer talking about individuals. We're talking about collective experiences shaping perception. And perception drives behavior. Over the last decade, certain loud corners of online feminism have pushed narratives that frame relationships as power struggles. Words like settling, never need a man. Men are replaceable. Date up or don't date at all. That messaging, whether it represents the majority or just the most viral minority, has been amplified nonstop. Algorithms reward outrage. .com. Balanced voices don't trend. So what do a lot of men see? Clips of women celebrating divorce. Podcasts mocking average men. TikToks advising women to extract maximum benefit while giving minimum commitment. Whether fair or not, repeated exposure shapes belief. And here's the key issue. When negative narratives become dominant, they create defensive dating. Men start generalizing. Women start guarding. Everyone starts assuming bad intent. It becomes less about love and more about risk management. Now, did feminism ruin everything? That's too simplistic. Feminism as a historical movement fought for voting rights, workplace access, legal protections. Those were structural battles. But what we're seeing today isn't the 1960s civil rights version. It's social media re-identity politics mixed with personal grievance and influencer culture. And the loudest voices often aren't the healthiest ones. But here's the uncomfortable twist. When men say, we assume all women are the same, that's not entirely about ideology. It's about pattern recognition, or at least what they believe is pattern recognition. If enough men experience constant hypergamy pressure, Emotional volatility framed as empowerment. Friend groups encouraging breakups over minor issues. They adapt. Just like women adapt after repeated bad experiences with unreliable or non-committal men. The real damage isn't one movement, it's polarization. When dating becomes ideological, romance dies. Instead of, how do we build together? It becomes, how do I avoid getting exploited? And once people enter relationships from a defensive posture, intimacy suffers. Here's the nuance most people ignore. The loudest, most extreme voices rarely represent the majority, but they influence the culture enough to distort expectations. So average men and average women end up paying the price for narratives they didn't even create. That's the tragedy. It's not that all women are the same. It's not that all men are trash. It's not that all women are the same. It's not that all men are trash. It's that distrust has become the default setting. And when distrust becomes normal, love starts looking like a liability instead of an opportunity. That's the deeper issue nobody wants to admit.
Why is it so easy for everyone else except for me to find love? I'm literally watching hundreds and thousands of people right here come into my comments, find love, mingle with each other, and then there's me at home, lonely, bored, no one to talk to. Like, it's not fair. I'm convinced I'm just going to be single forever because no one wants to come approach me. No one reaches out to talk to me. So, hey, I guess this is the new normal. I'm so jealous of the people here who are meeting others and instantly connecting with them. Like, you guys are just so lucky, and I don't even think some of you even realize. If you're single like me, go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know that I'm not alone here. And don't forget to hit the follow button. We have a community full of us.
True love is really hard to find. People throw that word around casually. That line right there exposes something deeper than dating frustration. It exposes inflation. Love has been inflated. We say I love you after 3 weeks. We call a 6-week situationship a deep connection. We label chemistry as destiny. And then when it collapses, people say love isn't real. No, what wasn't real was the foundation. True love, the kind that survives boredom, stress, financial pressure, aging, disagreements. That's not built on vibes. It's built on alignment, shared values, emotional discipline, mutual respect. And here's the problem. In 2026, we are a generation raised on instant intensity, not long-term stability. If it doesn't feel electric 24/7, we assume it's wrong. If it requires effort, we assume we're settling. If it challenges our ego, we assume it's toxic. So people throw the word love around because it sounds good. It feels poetic. It sells the fantasy. But very few are prepared for what real love actually demands. Patience, sacrifice, accountability, choosing the same person when options are visible everywhere. That's not glamorous. That doesn't trend. And this is where the confusion grows. When someone says true love is hard to find, they're right, but not because good people don't exist. It's hard to find because most people aren't ready for it. They want the aesthetic of love, the couple photos, the trips, the captions, the validation, but they don't want the discipline of love, communication when you're tired, loyalty when you're tempted, humility when you're wrong. So the word gets tossed around casually, but the work behind it is avoided. And that creates cynicism. Men start thinking love is a trap. Women start thinking love is a scam. Both sides start protecting themselves instead of preparing themselves. True love isn't rare because it's mythical. It's rare because it requires maturity, and maturity is uncomfortable. Until people stop chasing intensity and start building stability, the word love will keep being overused and underexperienced. That's the real disconnect.
I am in a shitty mood because I'm a 30-year-old trying to date, and it's just painful. Did you eat something? Fucker. I'm feeling rather annoyed right now, and whenever I feel annoyed, I feel like I need to pop off on something, and that something is usually TikTok. So I feel like when it comes to dating, I've been very chill and calm when it comes to my old set of standards that I held for myself. I'm like, okay, I need what the fuck? I need really high standards. I have high standards, and I do, But I feel like with dating, like I've kind of like realized to calm down a little bit in certain areas where I've been so high and mighty and tight with like certain things that you need to have. And I've like been relaxed on that, and I'm still just like not seeing or like feeling how I feel like I'm supposed to be feeling. And it's just like kind of upsetting because I'm like, okay, not that I'm lowering my standards. I just feel like I'm like opening up a little bit more and like growing up, realizing that maybe certain things that I used to think were like negatives are actually positives. And I don't know how to navigate it. I'm in this weird limbo of like trying to grow, trying to learn. And you know when you make excuses for someone in your head and then you kind of calm yourself down and then you're like, do I need to be making those excuses? I'm just feeling defeated because it's really hard to like start over time and time again. And again, you know, when you open yourself emotionally.
You started with dating is hard and then listed all the reasons you're making it hard. That's a sharp observation, and it cuts deeper than it sounds, because what we're seeing a lot in modern dating isn't confusion, it's contradiction. On one hand, why is dating so difficult? On the other hand, I refuse to lower my standards. I deserve the best. I won't compromise. He has to check every box. Now, let's be clear. Standards are not the problem. Everyone should have standards. The issue is when standards become fantasies detached from reality. You can't say dating is impossible while simultaneously filtering out 90% of viable partners over income brackets, height, inches, lifestyle aesthetics, or social status. That's not scarcity. That's self-selection. And this isn't just a women issue, but yes, culturally, a lot of the viral messaging aimed at women pushes hyperselectivity. Don't settle, level up, date up, or stay single. Those slogans sound empowering, but when taken to extremes, they shrink the pool down to a microscopic percentage of men. Then frustration follows. It's like locking every door in your house and then complaining you're trapped. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Social media has convinced many people that average equals failure. An average man with a stable job, decent character, and normal ambition is suddenly basic. Meanwhile, the same women demanding exceptional men often don't ask whether they themselves are exceptional in discipline, femininity, emotional intelligence, or peace. That's the double standard people react to. If you demand elite, you have to offer elite. If you want rare, you have to be rare. Otherwise, you're not filtering for compatibility. You're filtering for fantasy. And when someone points that out, it feels like an attack, but it's really just math. If dating is hard, we have to ask, is the market broken or are expectations inflated? Because constantly blaming external factors without examining internal choices, that's how cycles repeat. Again, this isn't about attacking women. It's about accountability across the board. Men do it too, wanting model of a beauty while bringing minimal effort. That's equally delusional. But when someone says you're making it hard, what they're really saying is, your standards might be protecting your ego more than building your future. And until people align expectations with reality, dating will continue feeling like a problem they created, but don't want to admit they're part of.
Hey girl, it's Coach B. Wiley. You know what I want you to do before the end of the year, meaning immediately, is that when you're dating a dude, I want you to just let him be who he is. Whoever he's showing you he is, however he's acting, if he's calling, if he's not calling, if he's being consistent, if he's not being consistent, if he's being up, down, and all around, if he's saying one thing and doing something else, I want you to just let him do him. And then you decide if that's going to jive with who you are and where you're going. The thing is, a lot of women, when we're dating, because we've been A, single for a long time, B, out the game for a while, meaning you've been married or in a long-term relationship and now you're back out there, you're just like, what the heck? Why don't I try to mold this dude? Why don't I try to change him? Why don't I try to wait around in hopes that he will show me that he's literally someone else other than who he has been showing me he is? The best thing for you to do is not even get your fingers in a crunch and white knuckle it, but be loose as a goose. And I mean that, not that other, I don't want your other goose loose. But what I mean by be loose as a goose is literally see him for what he is. And if that is not working for you, you don't try to change. You don't try to cuss him out. You don't roll your neck. You don't go on social media. You don't get angry, mad, sad, or depressed. You simply just delete them out your phone and literally go on to the next dude. Because what is it benefiting you from trying to change someone who, when they're showing up as who they are? How is it going to benefit you from trying to get this guy to go outside of himself to be who you need him to be? When you're with a qualified man as a qualified woman, you too will make the necessary tweaks on each other. You too will challenge each other to be your highest self. And what that doesn't mean is you're not changing his DNA, his makeup. He's not changing your DNA and your makeup and your personality and your character, nor are you doing that for him. You're literally noticing things that could be improved, just like he will do for you. That's what couples do for each other. They challenge each other to be the best selves. However, if you want to completely delete who he is and his personality and his character and then recreate it with all these components that you want his character to be, then that's a whole different dude. So why even invest in more energy in this dude who ain't giving you what you need and want? Why not just go out and make yourself available so you can attract that kind of dude with the characteristics that you need? Does that not make sense? Let me tell you, bring it to you like this. Because to me, who wants to sit up and do a bunch of work when they don't have to? Will you want to work on your job an extra 40 hours a week if you literally could just go find another job that's going to pay you what you need for just one set of 40 hours versus 80 hours? Makes sense, right? That's why I always take it back to work. Because anytime I bring it about money with an adult like yourself that is watching this, it clicks. So think about this. The next time you want to force, coerce, use your body, manipulate, swindle, or wait it out with a dude, just say, why am I doing this? When I can just free this dude up so I can free my hands up to catch the right guy. So let me know in the comments if you're ready to stop white knuckling it.
This isn't Build-A-Bear. I mean Build-A-Man. Gone are the days you could mold a man into what you wanted. Accept what's available or leave. That line is sarcastic, but it reflects a real shift. For a long time, there was this quiet assumption in dating culture. I'll get him as potential and shape him into performance. Take the raw version, upgrade the wardrobe, adjust the ambition, refine the personality, nudge the income, coach the confident. And sometimes that worked when men were more relationship dependent and less willing to walk away. But today, a lot of men have seen what happens when they build themselves for someone, only to be left once they reach the finished product stage. So now the mindset is different. Men are saying, this is who I am. Improve with me. Don't redesign me. And that's not arrogance. That's bound. Here's the deeper issue. Too many relationships start with imaginary blueprints, not acceptance, projection. She sees who he could be. He sees who she might become. Neither is fully accepting who the other actually is. That's where resentment grows. If you enter a relationship thinking, I'll fix him, you're not choosing him. You're choosing a renovation project. And adults don't respond well to being managed like a long-term assignment. Now, does that mean women should just accept whatever is available? No. That framing is extreme. But it does mean this. If the man in front of you isn't aligned with your vision, don't date him, hoping he transforms. And if he is aligned, stop trying to optimize him like a customizable avatar. The same goes for men. You can't date a woman expecting to reshape her personality, values, or lifestyle into something that suits you better. That's not partnership. That's control, disguised as preference. What's changed in 2026 is leverage. Men who are stable, disciplined, and self-aware now have more optionality. They're less tolerant of constant criticism disguised as help. They're less willing to be molded into someone else's fantasy while their own needs get minimized. And here's the uncomfortable truth behind that statement. You don't get to demand a finished product if you're still unfinished yourself. Mutual growth. Yes. Constant correction. No. If someone feels like a project on day one, the relationship is already misaligned. So when people say, accept what's available or leave, what they're really pointing at is this. Dating isn't about customization anymore. It's about compatibility. And compatibility starts with accepting reality, not negotiating with it.